Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bench. I am one half of the team, Rocco Granado from InTheCrossFitTrust.com, and with me, as usual, but I think feeling a little bit under the weather, from LaxPhilly.com is Gary Groove. Gary, how you feeling tonight?
I felt better before, but I'm good. I'm good to go here. If I sound a little bit hoarse, it's because I am. Hacking away here. I guess it's caught up with me with all the nice weather to come back to whatever you call this slop that we've been having.
Yeah, you sound like I did a few weeks ago.
Bit of good news though. We've been talking the last little while about Kevin Nybauer.
Yep.
And his recovery. And the other day he was listening to, of all things, Bridge Over Troubled Waters. But all of a sudden, he was hearing faintly out of his right ear, which hasn't been going since he's been shot. Tonight, he was saying he was hearing a whole lot clearer. The buzzing had gone away, and he's hearing a lot clearer. So I'm assuming that things are healing. I know he has to go see some professional people to, get him on the right path. But that's definitely good news.
Yeah. Extremely good news. I was talking to him before we came on the air, and things are definitely looking up for him. I'm extremely happy. We've been together for the past few weeks covering Drexel lacrosse, so it's good to see Kevin back into the fold of doing something he loves, and it's really going to be great when December 2018 rolls around and I walk through the concourse of the Wells Fargo Center and I see Kevin there. Back to where we started our friendship and everything with the Philadelphia Wings over 30 years ago. So, that's something, that's another, I guess you could say, check mark off the list coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
So... But yeah, that's fantastic news. Kevin's not one to give up. You know that, I know that, and he's going to fight until he's back to 100% of, I guess you could say this loosely, his normal capacity.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that is just absolutely fantastic news to hear.
Definitely.
Now, let's get rolling on some very, very interesting games this weekend. And I did a story last night, and it's up on InTheCrossFitTrust.com, about how close the Colorado Mammoth are to first place in the Western Division. Now, you look at the standings, you see the Rusher 10-2, and Colorado 7-3, and you're figuring, well, there's no way they can catch them. Colorado's got 2 games in hand. They win those 2 games, they're only a game out, and these teams still have to play each other again on April 7th, but there's a lot of things that have to happen, okay? Colorado's got somewhat of an easy schedule the next 3 games. They got Calgary and then Vancouver twice, while Saskatchewan has off this week, and then they got to travel to Buffalo and Rochester, 2 teams that have been playing good in the East. So anything can happen. It's not, we thought it was locked up at first for Saskatchewan, but Colorado's been playing some pretty good ball lately.
They have, yes they have. They've been pretty consistent, but with consistency also comes a bit of luck.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that Zach Greer is actually playing and not just suiting up. So I guess whatever ailed him is starting to, plus ring rust. I think that's out now.
Yeah, and that's scary. That is going to be scary there. So let's start. Well, the first game we had was, as we're mentioning, Colorado. They were in Georgia facing the Georgia Swarm, and this game was spectacular. It was just a nail biter through and through. This is the Georgia team we've been waiting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Georgia, we talked about it before, but now they've gotten everybody back. And I actually was talking with the Thompson's father, and he made mention of the same thing. They tried some other ideas at the beginning of the season. Now they have their players back. Now it's go time. And no truer than now. When you have somebody like a Joel White come back, a Chad Tutton with his toughness, obviously with a Jordan Hall, who is your quarterback everywhere he's ever been, and now back again here. And what he's done is not only just carried the play, but he's also awoken the Thompson brothers, who have been in a pretty deep sleep most of this year, and been average players, just above average, when they were cock of the walk last year.
Yeah,
I think with all the pieces in play, plus a very, very strong defense that seems to be flying under the radar, as well as having guys like Kyle Matisse for transition, which I'll put him up against anybody in the league for transition. And with the accuracy of a Mike Poulin in his passing, going 30, 40, 50, 60 feet up the floor, it gives them a distinct advantage, especially with big guys and not needing a whole lot of steps to get down the floor.
Yeah.
The other teams out of their comfort zone, which has them taking penalties for, once again, too many men jumping too early, all the rest of that. And they're just starting now to get the feel that they had, to get that mojo back from last year. So, the Colorado game, I really think it was Georgia's game to lose, and they found a way to lose it. But overall, I think they played a fantastic game there. Yeah,
they really did. I mean, the Thompsons came out. They came out. They played. Randy Stotts had one hell of a game. Mike Poulin. I mean, they were all playing on point, and this was just a game that was basically taken from them in the last 4 minutes. You had Keogh score the tying goal and then the game winner with just under 5 seconds to go. It was like, I believe, 4.6 seconds. When he scored that goal. But this is what's scary. Georgia is now coming around. Like you mentioned, they got Jordan Hall. Wherever he's been that unsung hero. Okay? Joe White is now back. Chad Tutton, back. As we were talking earlier. And all this with, like you said, the defense that is somehow under the radar right now. And Mike Poulin going back to the way he was playing before.
Even a little better than that.
Yeah. Add that into only one game separates first to fifth in the Eastern Division.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
It's unbelievable right now.
In 12 games, you're going to have one game separating first from worst.
Yeah. And the thing is here that New England has played the least amount of games right now. So, you look at Buffalo. Buffalo, Georgia, and Rochester have played the most. They've all played 11 games. Toronto's played 10. New England's played 9. And right now, by virtue of percentage points, New England's in first place. And like I said, they still have 2 games in hand. So, winning those games are, when you have those games in hand, it's vital that you win those. Because that can, that'll give them an easily 1-game lead over Buffalo and even more over, say, the likes of Georgia and Rochester, teams like that. So, you see teams that have 2 games in hand, they're games that when they come up on the schedule that they have to win. You have to win your other games too, but you have these 2 in hand. That's it's there. And with Georgia the way they're playing right now, it's going to be tough. I mean, they're sitting at 5-6 with Rochester, tied for 4th Toronto is 5-5 right now. They're in third, so they only have a half game lead over Georgia and Rochester. And then Buffalo and New England, are 1 and 2. New England's in first, but like I said, by mere percentage points because of the number of games. But every year, Gary, we see this. It's going to come. Looks like it's going to come down to the very last game. The very last tick of the clock is what it's going to come down to, and this time it's going to do that in the East. In the West, it's just going to be a matter of playoff seeding right now. That's how it's going to happen. But this Georgia-Colorado game, Georgia had the lead, most of the game. They were just, battling nonstop, up and back. Colorado went on their run. Georgia went on their run. But the last run, that was Colorado's, is what ended up, winning the game for them. Ryan Benesh, 2 goals, 4 assists. Right, 2 and 3. Stephen Keogh, I don't know what's in the water he's drinking. 3 goals, 3 assists. Zach Greer, who is playing like the old Zach Greer, is now back with 2 and 2. So, their big players came out, did what they had to do. Dylan Ward stopped 42 of 52 shots, even picked up an assist. Look at Georgia. The Thompsons combined for 3 goals, 2 assists, with Miles having just a goal. Lyle with 2 and 2. Jesse King 2 and 1. Shane Jackson 2 and 1. Randy Stotts 2 and 5. 5 big assists by Randy Stotts, but
and he's flying under the radar.
Yes.
All the other things that are going on, he's flying under the radar altogether.
Yeah,
and very very subtly, he's picking up a lot of points.
Yeah, I would like to see him get a few more goals.
It's funny because you would figure that he would be closeted and shadowed, but he's not. He's just out there.
Yeah, I would like to see him get a few more goals in there. Jordan Hall was just held to 1 assist, 4 shots, but they need, you have Randy Stotts, you have the Thompsons. Those 3 should be combining for more than just 5 goals.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even if they would have won this game 11-10 and they had those stats, those 3 alone should be combining for more.
But just looking at this lineup, from what we saw, say, a month ago, this scares the crap out of me.
Yeah. But
because just look at the names that are back in there, right? We already talked about Hall, White, and Tutton, but you're also talking about Jesse King's healthy.
Yep.
Also talking about Ethan O'Connor back. It goes down a list here.
Yeah.
Like, this is the team that won the cup.
Yeah, I'm going to get a chance to see this team.
The only thing that they're lacking on right now is face-offs. And Jordan McIntosh isn't really doing it. That's really the only thing that they're short on right now.
Right now, yeah. And I'm going to get a chance to see this team this weekend when they're in Rochester playing Saturday night. So
that's going to be the test.
Yeah, that's going to be quite interesting, especially with the face-off man that Rochester has. And with the way Rochester's been playing, they've won the last 3 without Dan Dawson, and then of course they obviously traded him. He goes to Saskatchewan. It's Rochester's on a hot streak right now. After winning the first 2, then losing their next 6, Rochester is now on a roll. And you don't want to catch a hot Nighthawk team. We know what they're capable of doing. But, Georgia plays them this week, and it's the Twitter game of the week also. So,
which is good foresight for the league.
Yeah.
They fluked into this one. This will be the game of the weekend.
Yes. It's going to be a very interesting game. And I'm so glad I'm going up there to see this. It's really going to be something, this game. But yeah, I mean, You know,
that was a good game to start the weekend off.
Yeah, very good game. Unfortunately, they only had 3,000 people, 3,093. Colorado was 4 for 6 on the power play. Georgia went 2 for 7. They need to do better on that power play. Georgia did get a shorthanded goal also, so that kind of helped. Loose ball is kind of even, 62-60 in favor of Colorado. The face-offs, Gary, as you mentioned, definitely in Colorado's favor, 16-9. But, you know, where it counts is right there on the scoreboard. Colorado ended up edging this one out 11-10. But this was a game that Georgia could not hang their head on. You know, it was just tooth and nail the whole way. And a very big game for Colorado to win. To kind of keep pace with Saskatchewan and to keep first place within, you know, their grasp. Now, the next game also had Georgia in it. And this was on Saturday night. And this is a game that I know you were not happy about. Georgia,
that's an understatement.
Yeah, Georgia flew across the Mason-Dixon line, across the U.S.-Canada border, landed in Toronto, and I believe the Toronto Rock were more than happy to see them out of town real quick.
Well, yeah. This game, it's funny because, you know, the first quarter looked like a typical Toronto-Georgia game, and we're just kind of figuring that, okay, they'll get their legs tired, and that'll be the end of that. No. What happened was that the Toronto offense, with all that firepower, decided that they were going to go to the local pub and spend 35 minutes there, 32:30 to be exact, and from the 3:05 point of the second quarter, didn't score a goal on the, like I had mentioned earlier, the tough Georgia defense, and Mike Poulin playing very solid in net. All the way until the 6:22 mark of the fourth quarter. Now, being in there as a Toronto fan, what we started seeing again was that old, familiar foe of shooting from Oakville. I believe a couple of shots came from Kingston.
I think 1 or 2 shots came from my backyard, too.
Oh, yeah, you know, a couple of them had long distance, and they also had custom stickers on them. So they were shooting from everywhere but anywhere near the net. And I realized that it's a big defense, but you're not going to beat Poulin from 60, 70 feet out. And we proved that. And if they don't want to pay the price, maybe they should buy a ticket and sit with us.
Huh.
Because the effort that was given offensively was lacking.
Yeah.
Now, you look at the shots on goal, and it said 56-51 in favor of Georgia. And that's a very flattering stat, considering 40 of those shots came from New Brunswick. I'm for the life of me, I'm bewildered, because there's a number of questions that popped into my head in this game. Number one, what happened? I realized Shriver's out. Big loss, yes. What happened to Jones? What happened to Hickey? Is Hellier doing too much since everything was passed back to him outside of the box so he could fire from 147 miles away? Then what happened to the transition game? For the last couple of years, whenever they have that thing working, they have wins in the column because they have the other team unsettled because they have a heck of a lot of speed on transition. I didn't see any transition.
No.
The only transition was, are we going to get scored on now or we're going to get scored on later? That was it.
Yeah, when you only get 5 goals from McCardle, Hellier, and Hickey, 5 out of your 7, that was it.
When you only get 7 goals.
Goals, yeah.
You're not going to win many games in this league.
No, and I don't know what happened, but it looked like the Thompsons had an extra set of legs on.
The Thompsons played a fantastic game. Now, also think about this one, because we've talked and heralded Jordan Hall for being the quarterback and everything surrounds him. And yeah, for a long time it did. But he took a 5 in a game in the third quarter for he deserved it. It was a good cross check underneath the chin of David Edwards. I talked to Damon after the game and saw the bandages.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was warranted.
Yeah, definitely.
But even with him out of the game, that didn't stop the Georgia Express.
No, because if you look at the penalties that were called, okay, after that, he had the 5-minute, they have it down here as a body check major, then the game misconduct, okay. Sorensen went off for a double minor for a legal cross check and a hold, but then, Kyle Matisse goes off. I mean, for bad substitutes for bench minor. I guess he was the in-home player.
He was, and Caputo was the in-home player for Toronto.
Yeah, and it just, you get a player like that off the floor, you need to take advantage. But Toronto was doing the same thing. They were taking a lot of stupid calls, and it seems like the special teams.
There was nothing special with special teams. Combined, they went 1 for 13.
1 for 13, yeah. And
it's ridiculous. And 0 for 6 for Toronto with their power play is nuts. And when you have a 2-man advantage, because during that 5-minute power play, there was already a penalty going.
Right.
So they had, for the better part of a minute, a 5-on-3, and scored all of 0. At that stage, as bad as they were playing, that would have brought them right back into the game. They scored 2 on that, and it's a whole different ballgame. But nope, they came up empty. They came up short. The effort was lacking from what I could see.
Yeah.
And talking to these guys afterwards, I know they were a little unhinged, some of them. Some of the calls and some of the things that were going on, and a lot of the non-calls. But, that's what happens. And you got to shake that off and play.
Yeah, some of the non-calls and some of the ones that were called that maybe shouldn't have been, and the crew chief.
Well, Gardonio was a whole other thing. What he needs to do is get the Thompsons to sign his jersey or something like that and get on with things.
I'm glad you said that.
I've never seen a bigger bunch of fandom in my
life. Yeah. The shots were almost even, 56-51. Loose balls, Georgia's favor, 78-71. Like we said, so-called special teams were not so special. They combined to be 1 for 13, with Georgia getting the only power play goal.
Yeah, and also getting to get that up, because the night before they didn't do much better. I think they were 2 for 5 or
2
something.
2 for 5,
like that.
Yeah. And then they even scored a shorthanded goal.
They need to flip those numbers around.
Yeah, and Georgia even got a shorty.
Colorado or Saskatchewan. I think Saskatchewan is something like 75% on the power play.
Yeah, which is unheard of.
Given, as soon as you sit down, you're standing back up and going across.
Yeah.
So that's the part of their game they need to take a look at.
Yeah.
And with this kind of firepower that they have, and everybody seems to be firing, there really is no reason why this team should be going 1 for 7.
No.
Now, there was a bright spot in this thing, and that was Nick Rose was playing very, very well. In fact, single-handedly stopping a lot of these things on power plays. Then there was a collective hush in the Air Canada Centre when he stretched to make a save and stayed down for a good couple of minutes.
Yes.
And luckily, after a few minutes of therapy there, he was able to continue. It looked a lot worse than I guess it was. But he's not one to stay down, so when he goes down and stays down, something's not right. Something's
not right, yeah. But thankfully he's okay. He's he's able to shake it off, continue, and then Brandon Miller came in and played the last 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that was more or less for trying to run him to the bench.
Yeah.
He was quicker to the bench. The funny thing is that I know it was listed as an empty net goal, but Miller was on the floor, so we're almost thinking that with the botched up change, he would get credited for that goal.
Right.
It was against him, and thought, nah, that's just not fair.
No.
But luckily, it's listed as an empty net goal. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you look at the scoring on it. We mentioned the Thompsons, Miles with 2 and 3, Lyle 3 and 1, Shane Jackson 3 and 2, Matisse with 2-2.
But these guys were almost playing a home game because they're all from here,
Yeah.
and their whole crowd was there. And I talked with a bunch of them after the game, and they had a big section there for Kyle Matisse. Chad Tutton had a whole bunch of people there with their big faces to put over their faces. Shane Jackson had a whole heap of people around him. So yeah, it's almost like a home game for these guys.
Yeah.
Hence them having their practices at the track.
Yeah, unfortunately for Toronto, they lose this one, and that drops them a half a game out of first place in third, but only a half a game in front of Georgia. And I think they play each other again later on in the year, I believe.
They do. It's in Georgia.
In Georgia, and I think the series is 1-1.
No, it's 2-0. Georgia's already got the tiebreak.
Okay, so
2 weeks ago, Toronto lost in overtime.
That's right.
In a game that they should have never lost.
They should have never lost. That's right. So
and they were never in it, so we never had anything really to discuss.
Yeah. So Georgia holds the tiebreaker over Toronto. So that's not good. So Toronto has to try to get some room. Now, the next game, I don't know anymore. I really don't. Vancouver at Saskatchewan. Vancouver starts off strong. They're down 5.
Have we seen a game this year where Vancouver plays 4 quarters?
No, we haven't, and that's the.
Didn't see one last weekend either.
No, and that's the sad thing. This team is now 1-11. Okay, it's all but mathematically done that Colorado and Calgary will also clinch a playoff spot. Yeah, Calgary is only 3 games ahead of Vancouver, but with the way Vancouver's playing, forget it. Colorado, all they need is to win a game or Vancouver to lose a game in these final 6 that they both have, and Colorado clinches, and Colorado and Vancouver play each other twice coming up in the next couple of weeks. But this team, I just don't. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it just seems like once the announcement of San Diego's coming into the fold, a lot of these, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of these players don't, I don't want to say don't care, but I don't see that stealth get up and go that I seen last year when I watched them play New England. And they needed to win that game to clinch second place. You know, and get that.
It's not like they're not putting forth an effort, because they are.
Right, but I don't see...
seem to sustain it for 4 quarters.
4 quarters, right. And it seems like, with this game, they're down 5-4, then the second quarter, they don't even show up.
Well, you take out the second quarter, and we have a 1-goal game.
Right.
But how do you just take a whole quarter off and expect to win? Toronto proved that in the other game. You take a couple of quarters off, and you're not winning many.
No, and it wasn't just a 5-goal run; it was a 6-goal run because they scored the first goal in the third quarter. So after it was 5-4, they basically scored the next 6 to go up 11-4. I mean, it just.
But again, Vancouver's power play sucks.
Yeah.
1 for 4 on the power play.
Well, 1 for 4 ain't.
It's been perfect, but except the one they missed, 5 out of 6. The one they missed, they only had 30 seconds on it.
Right. Well, here's the thing: they go 1 for 4 in the power play, but they also let up a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, they also scored a shorthanded goal, so they negate each other, but still.
Yeah, but okay, so they scored a shorthanded goal, but yet Saskatchewan goes 5 for 6.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The penalty kill is dead.
Around. And you got someone like Mark Matthews who's 9 assists.
No goals, just 9 assists, that's all.
Now, also think about this one, is that Dan Dawson, playing his first game for Saskatchewan, spent a good bunch of time in the dressing room getting work on his leg. He missed most of the second quarter, ironically, where they scored so many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's got a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah. Goal and 2 assists, 4 shots. You know, I mean...
But it's like I said, they're going to use the big men. They're going to use Dawson, and they're going to use Matthews, quarterback in this stuff. And then you're going to get guys like Robert Church scoring 4 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah.
You're going to get Ryan Keenan 2 and 2. You're going to get Matthew Dinsdale 4 goals, no assists. Or Shadler.
Yeah.
The last time we've seen Shadler with that many, 3 and 3. It's been a while since he's had those kind of numbers.
Ask Calgary; they might know.
yeah. But even this year, he was rolling for a while and he stopped for a while.
You're right.
Numbers are back.
I mean, that's just.
It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
But again, it's also a different mindset that Saskatchewan's playing. Saskatchewan's playing. He has to win and win a division, of course. But they're also playing to not get hurt because they've already clinched. Which is a whole different mindset when you clinched in the beginning of or middle of February.
Right. They clinch a playoff spot, right.
Clinch a playoff spot. So, really, now they're just playing for the division. So they don't have to, go all and win by 47 goals. And they're not going to. And once they had that lead, once that second quarter hit, they're just going to match and do what they got to do. And that's it.
Yep.
You don't see this team doing crazy things. Keenan's not going to let them do crazy things. So, I don't know. I think Colorado has their hands full trying to make up that game.
Yeah, they do. And if you look at I had it.
Didn't fare well in the first 2 games against Saskatchewan.
No. And I had it here. I don't know where I put it. The way the schedule breaks down in the last, the last 8 games that each team has. But I know the next 3 for Colorado is Calgary this weekend, and then the 17th and the 24th they have Vancouver. Okay, and for Saskatchewan they're off this week, and then the next 2 weeks they travel Buffalo and Rochester.
Which neither's an easy game.
Or no, I'm sorry, they don't travel. I think they travel to Buffalo, and then they're home against Rochester because they were already in Rochester this year.
Right.
So
it's a game worth watching,
but then April.
Saskatchewan, I give the edge to them there, but we'll talk about that down the road.
Down the road, yeah, and then the big game is going to be in April 7th.
But then we also look at the shots on goal in this game. Vancouver had 38 shots. Most teams get 38 shots at the half.
Half, yeah.
They had 66 loose balls. Toronto's done that in a half, too.
Yeah. But
they won a face-off battle. Because, once again, Jeremy Thompson's having an off year this year. He was only 12 for 24.
Well, here's the other thing. They had 38 shots on goal. 24 were off net.
So maybe they need a GPS system.
Yeah, I mean that's that comes out to a combo of 62, and you look at Saskatchewan, 51 shots, 12 off net. That comes to 63. They just had way too many shots off net, and I think that just comes from forcing, just trying to get anything. But yeah, when you let up 6 in a row, 5 alone in the second quarter, you start squeezing that stick a little bit harder than you should.
But it's also you start shooting from outside.
Yeah, and
you're not going to beat this team shooting from outside.
That's what happened.
The defense is solid. The defense tightened up, and Vancouver never had a chance to get inside. And after a while, they just stopped trying.
That's what I think happened. Vancouver got on the phone and talked to Toronto.
And together, they met somewhere over in Winnipeg or in maybe.
Yeah,
and up there they had some coffee and started throwing balls at the net. Some went east, some went west.
Yeah, because Eric Penny didn't last long in this game. He was taken out after the 25-minute mark. After 10:04 in the second, actually, it should be 11:04. It looks like, because that's when the game ended up being 10-4, and that's when they took him out. And then Brody McDonald came in. He ended up absorbing the loss at that point, and Evan Kirk playing strong again, with that defense in front of them, stopping 28 of 38 shots. We mentioned Mark Matthews with his 9 assists, only 9.
Only.
Yeah, Shatler 3 and 3. Big Ben McIntosh 2 and 3. Robert Church getting back on track with 4 and 4. Matty Dinsdale with 4 goals. I mean, just all around consistency throughout that lineup.
Saskatchewan does what Saskatchewan does.
Yeah, and Vancouver, Beers, Dutch, Corey Small, Cleveland all with a goal, and you had McCready, Malcolm, Saunders all with 2. And Reese Dutch also added 4 assists, but this game, I believe, was a Twitter game of the week, and they actually had Jake Elliott on one of the calls on this game with Shanahan.
Right.
And it was funny when they first started because they said for as many years as they have both been calling lacrosse games, this was the first time that they ever worked together, which was kind of odd. You have two lacrosse. I don't want to say kingpins, but 2 lacrosse minds and people with their intelligent intellect of the game. That's what I was looking for. And they never worked together, or called a game together. So, it was great to hear them working together. It was great to hear Jake, obviously, calling the game. And, they focused on Reese Dutch, saying what he would average this year in points. And it was way below what he would normally get.
Right.
And neither one had an answer of, as to why this is happening. But I think at the end of this year, there's going to be a very, very large shakeup in Vancouver.
Well, I don't think anybody should be safe.
No.
Not even the concession stand operators.
No. Oh, before we get to the next game, I saw something come up on swarmingup.com, thanks to our man Corporal out there in Minnesota, that Halifax put in a trademark or a copyright in.
Yep.
Known for the Halifax Privateers.
Which works well with the East Coast and the Barrett's Privateers, and you can look up the song.
Yes, so it looks like that Halifax should be coming into the league, not this coming season, but the next.
Well, we still have to look what the league's going to do, but yeah.
Yeah, so they put their copyright or trademark in. It has on there for the National Lacrosse League, and so.
Gee, I remember someone like me a year ago was talking about this.
Yeah, about Halifax, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to listen to us or you or anybody, right?
Right.
So the only thing we don't know is whether or not they're going to be up and running for this year, for 2018-2019, which I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's probably going to be the following year.
We're only going with 2 this year. The league's already made that clear.
Yeah, and they still haven't done the coin flip yet, my understanding. I was talking to Coach Day just through social media. I was hoping he was going to be in Rochester this weekend, but he's not going to be there until March 31st, and I'm not going to be there that weekend because I wanted to talk to him about that, and if he maybe try to pick his brain as to if he has anybody in mind or what type of offensive coach is he looking for. Because I know him and Tom Hollywood Marachek have an ongoing friendship. And I think Marachek would be a great offensive coordinator. But I don't know, what his plans are, to do. Maybe he'll have him on as an advisor or something. I don't know. But I know in San Diego, Steve Govett is waiting for this season to be over, and then he's going to interview for a head coach and GM. So he wants to interview all the coaches that are out there. So,
right.
Who knows? That's what they said he's going to wait for. But yeah, the big thing is that we saw Halifax filed in their trademark, and thanks to our buddy Corporal out there in Minnesota. Keep it going, Corp. It's basically a done deal. It's just a matter of them making the announcement that Halifax will be coming to the NLL, most likely 2019, 2020.
Well, we do have another. Like I mentioned last year, they're another team that has a market like a Saskatchewan.
Right.
They will take that team and embrace that team.
Yes.
You will not worry about attendance marks and things like that.
No.
They will embrace it. So it's a good move for the league. The only problem is travel. But if you can get to New England's games, if you can get to Vancouver's games in Langley,
you can get to Halifax.
You can easily get there. Now, also, you're going to be looking at with Jerry Jones taking the Rattlers in the MLL. Word is Mark Cuban from the Mavericks might be looking to do the Dallas one for the NLL, but that is still speculation.
Right. Now, the last game we have is Buffalo at Colorado.
16. And the big thing here was to see.
16,062 in the Loud House.
And it was just that, a loud house.
Very loud. A very big game for Colorado, especially playing the night before, playing in a nail-biter. Now, I don't know if anybody at all, except for maybe the family of the person I'm going to mention, would have thought that Pat Coyle would have tapped Steve Fryer on the shoulder and said, "Get between the pipes tonight."
Yeah, being with all the guys from the Rock after the game, that was the one bright spot after that miserable game with Georgia, was that Deep was going in net, and everybody was pulling for him there.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched him since he was drafted with the Philadelphia Wings back in 2011. Okay, 4th round, 28th pick overall. I liked how his mindset was. Okay, he knows what he had to do, what to do for practice, and everything that needs to be done. And he was just a product of the numbers. And I've been saying, if he gets a chance to start, the team that he's playing for will be very, very happy. Because in my article I have up there, since he's been in the league, and the stats came from NLL.com, he has played a total before this season with Colorado, 61 minutes and a few seconds. That's it. From his time with Toronto and Philadelphia, a maximum of 61 minutes and change. This year with Colorado, he's played 6 minutes, 36 seconds until he got his first career start. And boy, did he impress.
Yeah, he was the first star of this game.
Yeah. I mean, I saw him making saves that, as I put in the article, highlight reel worthy. I mean, to hold this Buffalo team to 7 goals not only says something about the goaltending, but also says something about the defense.
Well, the thing was this, right? My big thing was to see how Sean Evans was going to co-habituate with the Buffalo team, and he came away with all of 1 assist. That's part of the story. He had 10 shots. So, yeah, but made a lot of saves off of Evans, for sure.
Yeah, well, Dane Smith had 10 shots too, but he put 3 of them in.
Very true. Very true.
But Josh Byrne.
The question is, the early thing with the trade, though, with Evans only having an assist, where we expected him to take the offense on his shoulders like he's done most everywhere else. So, is it just how well Fryer played? Is it that they ran into a hot Colorado team? Or is it that this isn't really that good of a move?
It could be a little bit of everything. Also, it could be.
Let's give another game or two to see if, granted, he just moved over there and without a practice, he played a game.
Right.
So let's see what happens. But
yeah, because if you look at,
I wasn't a big fan of the trade in the first place.
No.
Because when you're taking someone who has 40 points out of your lineup, who has been your quarterback for the whole year, who's a big body in Kalen Crawford, and replacing him with Sean Evans, granted a world-class player, sometimes the chemistry isn't what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think there's more to the trade than we know of.
I'm sure there is.
I don't think this was just, let's...
Well, we were talking about that after the game, too. There's a couple of factors. One, they took away his captaincy over New England.
Yep.
Two, he can now drive to Buffalo to the games from Peterborough. It's only a 3-hour drive. That's a big one, too, so he can spend even more time at home. So, as opposed to doing all that flying to try and get over to New England. So, plus there's locker room things and,
Yeah.
But that's just speculation on reputation, so...
Right. Yeah, so who knows?
We'll see. But, where did the scoring go? If Colorado's going to put a run on, granted they won, but 8 goals is not going to win you many.
No.
There's not a chance in heaven's hell that 8 goals is going to win many. And against Saskatchewan, 8 goals isn't going to get you through a half. So, down the road in the playoffs when it all matters, they better come up with a little more than this.
Yeah, and considering that Buffalo scored the last 3 of the game, all within a 3-minute and 24-second span, you're looking 8-7, and you still had almost 4 minutes to go in the game. That was just,
Yeah, that's Fryer. That's why he was the first star.
I mean,
he shut the door at that point.
Yeah.
But where was the Colorado's goal? Why do you take the fourth quarter off? Buffalo's defense didn't get any better.
No.
So, it's bewildering to me when you have that kind of firepower and that kind of speed. There should be all kinds of things going on. Ryan Benesh did his part, 2 goals, 2 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Fordell, 2 goals, no assists. And Jacob Ruiz with a goal and 4 assists. Good setup, man. Jeremy Noble with a goal and 5 assists. Another good setup guy. Capito had 1 transition goal. Zach Greer. Now, we're talking about him, and we're, praising him for his effort in the other game. Here he comes up a little flat. 1 goal and 7 shots.
Yeah, but you forgot to mention one very big name. Stephen Keogh.
Yeah, he came up completely empty in this game.
Yep, he got a dozen eggs up there. He's got all goose eggs up there, except for what? 2 penalty minutes, 7 shots, 4 shots off net, 4 loose balls, and a turnover. And he caused 2 turnovers. That's it. That's a transaction player line.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, some guys felt the effects of playing the night before against Georgia a little more than others.
Yeah, but
Eli McLaughlin also pretty empty over there.
Yeah, but they played the night before and they had to travel. Okay, Buffalo was already there.
Yeah,
I mean to hold basically.
Honestly, I don't think Buffalo makes the playoffs.
I don't know. If they keep on playing like this, no, they won't. But to hold what I'm deeming right now the rookie of the year to just 1 goal.
Yeah, let alone the first-round draft pick overall.
Yeah. I mean, Dane Smith was the only one with multiple goals. He had the hat trick. Yeah, but Stephen Fryer just played out of his mind, and when the expansion draft rolls around, it's who Colorado's going to protect. They're going to protect Dylan Ward. That's obvious. So maybe he gets a shot with San Diego as a backup, or maybe Philadelphia takes another shot at him. As a backup goaltender, or maybe give him a chance to to be the number one man.
Sure.
Because I think he might be playing this summer. But, you know.
Well, he's playing in the summer. He plays for Oakville.
Yeah. So he's going to get a lot of, you know, more seasoning, you know, this summer coming up. But just his play on Sunday was just, Saturday, I mean, was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And now I think he's probably going to get, my guess would be one of the Vancouver games he's going to get to start.
Sure, why not?
You know, whether it be back in Colorado or the one on the road in Vancouver. But that would be, you know, a definite, you know, start there, especially since after the second Vancouver game, their last 5 are uphill battles. I'm not saying uphill as that they shouldn't win the games, but they're going to be tough games. They got Toronto, they got Rochester. April 7th, they got Saskatchewan, they got New England. I can't remember. I think, yeah, and they got Toronto at the end of the year, too. They got Toronto twice, I believe. Colorado. They got them in Colorado and then at Toronto, then the last game is at Colorado. So they got a tough schedule coming up, you know, at the very end. So, you know, it'd be good for Dylan Ward to get that rest and try to heal up a little bit, but this game was just unbelievable. I mean,
yeah, it turned into a nail biter that didn't have to, but again, special teams weren't very special.
No, 1 for 5 for Buffalo, 1 for 4 for Colorado. You had 22 minutes in penalties.
And ironically, Buffalo led in every category. Shots on goal 52-45, loose balls 80-69, face-offs 13-6.
Yep.
But not on the score sheet. Not where it counted.
No, not where it counted at all. And they had, you know, they had their run. They had that 3-goal run in the fourth quarter. You know, Colorado made it 8-4, and you know, just about 8 minutes into the fourth quarter is when Buffalo got the first goal. Dane Smith scored, and then Mitch Jones got one at 10:03, and Dane Smith again at 11:20. And as we talked about just a little while ago, after that, Steve Fryer just stole it. Just stole the game. You know, in the last 3 minutes and 40 seconds, it was all him. Not letting a goal in, not letting a thing get by him. And that was, you know, in front of 16,062. And, you know, we've always seen players smile, Gary, when they win. You know, they hoist the cup, or, you know, they get that memorable 200th goal of their career or what have you. But I never seen a smile as big and wide as I did on Saturday night when they were interviewing Fryer at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had everybody, all the fans on his side, even his old teammates in Toronto. Yeah, you know, as you were saying, they were all happy for him that he got to start. So, you know, as much as, you know, we rag on goaltenders and things like that, I've always been behind him. I've been a friend of his since he, like I said, came into the league, and I know, for one thing, his mom was very happy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I was talking to her before we came on air, and she couldn't believe it. She was just so excited. You know, she's, you know, obviously always there, you know, supporting him. But just, you know, great game, and no doubt he'll get another shot, another crack coming up before the end of the season. So now, with all that being said and done, in the West, you got Saskatchewan, who has clinched the playoff berth. They're 10-2. Colorado is at 7-3. They're 2 games behind Saskatchewan. Calgary 4-6. They're 5 games out of first, 3 games out of second. And Vancouver is 1-11. A win by Colorado will obviously clinch a playoff berth. So Colorado win or a Vancouver loss will give Colorado playoff berth, obviously. And obviously the numbers are dwindling down right now between Calgary clinching a playoff spot as well. But a Colorado win, I think they play this weekend. Yeah, they play Calgary this weekend. So win by them on Saturday, and they will clinch a playoff berth. In the East, New England and Buffalo, as we said earlier in the show, are tied for first. Well, they're New England's first, Buffalo's second, but only by 11 hundredths of a percentage point, 556 to 545. New England has 2 games in hand on Buffalo. Toronto is in third at 5-5. Georgia and Rochester are the final 2 teams, both at 5 and 6. But Gary, as we said, in the East, from New England to Rochester, 1-5, is only separated by a single game. That is it. And a lot of these tiebreakers really haven't been decided. The Georgia and Toronto one has. But, you still got New England and Rochester. I think New England has that one because they won both already. But there's so many different things that could happen between 3 teams being tied or anything. But from 1-5, 1 game. I mean, you go on a 2-game losing streak, you're in the basement.
Easily.
I mean, it's just unbelievable how tight the East is, and that's why this weekend the games are so important this weekend. The first one is Georgia. You know what? We're going to do that one last because that's going to be the big game. You got Calgary at Colorado. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern. These 2 teams will play each other tooth and nail. No doubt Dylan Ward will be between the pipes. Most likely Christian Del Bianco for Calgary. This is going to be close. I mean, a win by Colorado will give them a 4-game lead for that second seed with them having only 7 games to go. It would almost lock up the second seed for Colorado, and a win by them will give them a playoff berth. I think with them winning the 2 games last week, both by a goal, they're playing at home again. I'm going Colorado on this one, even though I think Calgary's going to give them a fight.
I am too. I just think that with the week's rest, I think that they're going to be back to the old Colorado team. I think they're going to give Christian Del Bianco fits. Just with the speed transition, you're going to see guys like Jacob Ruist. You're going to see guys like Zach Greer have a better game. And then you're going to have the regular guys, the Ryan Benesh guys. They're just going to keep piling it on.
Right.
Transitionally, they can catch up to Calgary. Defensively, I think they can put schemes on for Dobby, and that'll be about it, really. I don't see this being... and you also have... they had 16,000 last week. I don't expect to see much less.
No, if not more.
Yeah, well, exactly. So it's the loud house will be loud.
Very loud. Now, next game we have is on a Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern.
Charity Day.
I was going to say which tells you New England's playing at home, but they're not. They're playing in Toronto. You got the New England Black Wolves against the Toronto Rock. Now, these 2 teams will face each other twice in the next 5 days. The 11th and the 16th. They face each other. And remember what I said. Only a half a game separates these 2 teams. New England had rest last week, which basically gives them 2 practices with Kalen Crawford to get him into the mix of things, of their of their schemes and everything. Toronto struggled big time last week.
Yes, they did.
I'd like to say that they're going to rebound this week. But I think, we know we don't put it all on one player. But with Schreiber out of the lineup and last week the way some of these guys played, it just seemed, I don't know. This is almost like a coin flip for me. Because this is also the return of Stefan LeBlanc.
That's the second time we've seen him.
Second? Okay. Well,
we don't care anymore.
Okay. Well, let me go by saying it's the first time since he's actually started putting the ball in the net.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going New England on this. I just think they're going to do what they need to do and win this game against Toronto.
Well, I'm obviously going with Toronto.
Homer.
Gee, what a shock, huh?
Yeah.
But you're not going to get a worse game than you got last week. Simple and true. That's the bottom of the barrel. Now we start moving upward.
Yeah, and
I think you see Jones. I think you see Hickey. I think you start seeing guys go inside. Hellier, maybe it's time for him to start passing it off a little bit. He can't be the center of attention the whole time. I think they're going to start adding Dan Lintner into the lineup a little bit more. He had a beautiful goal last week. A nice one-man act to do it. But I think you start seeing the floor a little bit more, too. Things have to shake up a bit. I also think you're going to see the return of the transition game. Because as we discussed, if they don't have it, they don't win.
right.
And Sheldon Burns is going to be obviously up for the game as well. So he'll be gazelling around there as well.
Yeah, this is going to be another classic game. I don't see either team winning by more than maybe 2 goals, and that second goal maybe being an empty netter.
Mm-hmm.
That's how close this game is going to be. Now, the big game of the week is also the Twitter game of the week. Georgia at Rochester. Georgia's coming off a very, very big win over Toronto in Toronto after losing a heartbreaker to Colorado. Rochester is on a 3-game winning streak, and they are playing hotter than ever right now. This is going to be another close one. It depends on what Georgia team shows up. Are we going to see the one where the Thompsons combined for 1 goal and no assists? Or are we going to see the one that we saw in Toronto?
I personally am going against the grain here, and I am going with Georgia in this game.
Ooh.
The things that impressed me that they did last week was shut down an entire Rock offense. I watched the defense completely stifle and frustrate this team, keep them to the outside. They are, like I said earlier in the show, flying under the radar. They are big, they are mean, and they're going to make you pay every time you're going to get close.
Right.
If you happen to get close, Mike Poulin has been playing terrific. Plus, he's also the sixth man of the attack, passing the way he's passing. And with the transition to Kyle Matisse and a few others, these guys are up the floor in no time, which is going to make the defense pretty unsettled, not being able to get into their zones. Now, of course, you have the Matt Vince factor, which he's either very, very good or very, very not.
Right.
The other thing is, I see Hall playing a whole game, and White and everybody else, right? And there's no way that you can double or triple team a Thompson brother.
No.
With all of them firing. I just think, and again, you're talking about a lot of big bodies. Rochester, while I think they're going to be a dynasty down the road, I don't think that that's now. And I think they're still susceptible to having brain cramps and having a few things go wrong, and, you know, I don't see the crowd either being the seventh man.
No, I'm not even going with the crowd, but I'm looking at the goal differential here, okay? Georgia scored 121. They let up 131. They let up more than they have allowed.
I don't put up much with the stats because the team that put most of those goals up is not the team that's playing this game.
Not the team that's playing, right. And, yeah, Rochester is 148 to 127. And I'm trying to look here, see, when they first played, In Georgia, it was 14-11 in favor of the Swarm. Then Rochester beat them in Georgia 17-10 back on February 11th.
And just after that, everybody came back.
Right. So this is the third game. This is the deciding game for the season series.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going Rochester. If this was in Georgia, I'd probably go Georgia. Because I think it's going to, I don't know, the way Rochester has played the last 3 weeks, I think they have enough to do it. And with Matt Vince between the pipes, it's going to come down to the goaltending. It really is. It really, really is. Both teams have a good transition game. If the Thompsons can start scoring like they did last week against Toronto, it could give Matt Vince fits.
Yeah, and he gets uncomfortable when they get inside. So if they can maneuver as they were doing last year, their defense and pulling the zones back further, so that you're going to pull the defensive zones further up the floor, and then have the guys sneak around behind, they're going to give Vince fits.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
A lot of that, I saw a lot of openness last week. So I have a feeling that they're getting in shape to make that run like they did last year. So no better time than the present.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling.
Well, last year they really didn't have to make a run. They were already up there and everybody else was trying to make a run for them. But yeah, if they get inside and get to Matt Vince, yeah, he'll probably lose his mind a little bit. But I just think with Campbell and Dawson out there, I think they're going to push the Thompsons to the outside. What has me worried is the transition game with Hall and Joe White. Good.
But they can also go Dawson and Billy D.
Yeah.
And dispute penalties on all that stuff. And what I also noticed is Georgia does like to flip-flop a lot. And if you get the right refereeing crew in there, they're going to get a lot of calls for them. Now, they may not be able to do anything because their power play sucks.
Right.
But no better time than the present to start practicing it.
Yeah, their power. I'm trying to see here what.
Their numbers are horrible. They're the worst in the league.
Yeah, well, no, I think Toronto was the worst in the league for the power on the power play. I'm trying to see here now. I think I hit the wrong. Oh, here it is, stat pack. That's what I wanted. You see, I should have brought this up. We got the attendance, scoring leaders. Defense.
Well, regardless, it doesn't much matter. They're both running on the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, they're both not all that great here for. But
like I said, I'm going on a gut feeling. So there's where it is.
Yeah, and then scoring by quarters, forget it. That's just they have it all broken down. But so you're going to go with Georgia over Rochester. We agree on Colorado over Calgary, and obviously you're taking Toronto. I'm going to take New England. So we have two different ones.
Uh-huh.
And considering you're a game back, you could overtake first place this week.
We'll see.
Should that happen. But again, Georgia-Rochester, Twitter game of the week. It should be a doozy. The Colorado-Calgary is also going to be exciting there as well, as those two teams always battle it out. And then on Sunday at 3 o'clock, New England at Toronto. That's going to be another one. That's a divisional game, and like I said, 4 out of the 5 teams in the East are playing. From 1st to 5th is only a game.
And if you're in the area in Toronto, sign up, because after the game, the jerseys are all up for auction.
Oh, this is their anniversary jersey they're showing, right?
Yep.
Ooh. That should be interesting.
All the proceeds go to Smile Zone.
Yeah, it was our charity last year for our tournament. And then next week, it gets even more interesting, Gary, next week's games. Saskatchewan, Buffalo, again, Toronto, New England, Rochester, Calgary, Colorado, Vancouver, and Buffalo in Georgia. Buffalo plays twice next weekend. Both tough games.
A break weekend for them.
Both tough games, and the worst part is they're home against Saskatchewan, and then they have to travel to Buffalo for a Sunday game at 4:05. They got to travel down to Georgia. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting as we come down to the last month, and also trading deadline, 11 days away, March 19th. Once that happens, we'll be able to see who's where. The 19th, I believe, is a Tuesday or a Monday. It's a Monday. Yeah. So trading deadline is usually around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Monday the 19th. And if memory serves me right, at the end of the week, or I think it's Thursday, and that's usually at around 3 o'clock also, is your last chance to sign any free agents that are out there to finalize your roster for the remaining of the season and playoffs. So you have trading deadline on the 19th, and then usually like the 22nd, in 2 weeks, is the final time you can sign anybody that's out there as a free agent just roaming around looking for a team or what have you, to solidify your rosters for the playoffs. So Gary, another exciting week. I mean, it just we say it every week. It just gets more and more exciting. There's nothing, if you miss a game, you're missing a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's the only thing that's going bad is with the way Vancouver's playing right now. But you kind of take the good with the bad, and we go from there. And still waiting for word on when the coin flip will happen for the expansion draft. And again, whoever wins the coin flip will have the option of either picking first in the expansion draft or picking first in the entry draft. So we'll have to see who comes out on top on that and which way they'll go. And then wait and see who's going to protect what. And, a lot of things are going to be happening in the next few months. We're already in March, and 5 months from now, you're going to have the expansion draft completed. You're going to have free agents signing with other teams, because August 1st is the free agent signing. That's when you go wherever you want. So there's going to be a lot in the next 5 months.
Definitely.
Champions Cup, maybe Georgia wins it the second time. Maybe Saskatchewan says, no, we want it back. Could be a rematch. Or maybe Toronto's laying low, and maybe they get a spark and they make a run at it. You don't know in this league. You just know that Vancouver ain't going to be the one fighting for it.
No. Chance.
No. So, with that being said, that'll do it for this week. Again, Twitter Game of the Week, Georgia at Rochester. I will be there, hopefully to get some interviews after the game. Hopefully get to talk to Coach Akumo and maybe some of the players, about either their victory or their loss, and, where do they go from, where they're at. And, we go from there. Go to, our websites, laxphilly.com and lacrossewetrust.com. We basically have everything covered from lacrosse, from high school to college to professional. I'll be doing color commentating on Tuesday at Rutgers Lehigh. That's at 7 o'clock on the Lacrosse Talk Network. Go to our Facebook page, Behind the Bench. The link will be posted up there. if you want to laugh at my color commentating. So I'm looking forward to that one. I had a beauty of a game this past weekend with Delaware, with the Delaware game, and that Delaware Nova. Delaware controlled that whole game, and Nova just came out in the fourth quarter and took it over. So it was fun doing it. It was a different experience. So look on our page, Behind the Bench, for that, and everything dealing with lacrosse. From me and Gary posting it to Kevin. Again, Kevin, fantastic news. Now you can actually hear the show and really give us the criticism on it. So he goes, "Sure, well, I really couldn't hear the show. That's why it sounded so good." So just have to see, but it's just fantastic news. It just keeps on getting better and better with Kevin, and like I said, me and Kevin go back years, and getting to cover games with him with Drexel is great. But I just can't wait for us to both be in the Wells Fargo Center again when the Philadelphia Wings finally take the floor again in December. That's going to be full circle, we'll say. And I know that's what Kevin's waiting for as well. So that'll do for this week. Gary, get better, get under the covers, take the cold medicine. You got what I had a few weeks ago.
I will be doing that very soon.
Yes. So, for Gary Grube at laxphilly.com, I'm Rocco Granado from InLacrosseWeTrust.com. Thank you for tuning in to Behind the Bench. We'll see everybody here again next week, reviewing these 3 games, previewing next week's games, and seeing where everything stands, and see if there's any more trades, and who knows what else. So until then, good night, everybody.
Can't you see I'm easily